UK expedite action towards global prosperity by 2030. Follow me as we take a look at the strategies outlined in the UK's White Paper on International Development. In 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals came into effect. The SDGs, as they are widely known, are a set of 17 goals adopted by the United Nations with the aim of ending poverty, protecting the planet, and ensuring that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. 3 years later, the World Bank estimated that about 80 million people were lifted out of extreme poverty. Progress, right? COVID-19 pandemic hit and reversed a lot of the gains that was made. It pushed an additional 88 million people into extreme poverty by 2020. The pandemic also impacted different groups of people in different ways, thereby increasing global inequality. We also, our Western countries, were able to quickly access vaccines and carried out massive vaccination campaigns for their populations. Achieving the SDGs was always going to be difficult. Throwing wars and the cost of living crisis and meeting the objectives of the SDGs is proving near impossible. The UK, as a frontline country in the battle for international development, is looking to reignite efforts and resources towards achieving the SDGs. In the White Paper on International Development, the UK has outlined its strategies, and here are my 7 key takeaways from the White Paper. First is partnerships. Collaboration is critical to achieving the SDGs. So the UK wants to deepen and expand partnerships. It wants to use British convening power and development expertise, and also surface opportunities for barriers against investment in emerging markets. Secondly is the issue of resources. Often at global events, the issue of resources, especially the financial type, dominates discussions. The UK wants to see the increased mobilization of public and private capital to do more for those with less. This also extends to exploring innovative finance and exploring the untapped carbon market of over $40 billion US. On one hand, we must make use of the funding we have in a sustainable manner, and on the other hand, we must also plug gaps due to corruption and illicit flow of funds around the world. Localization is the third point, and this is basically letting people on the ground have more say and control over what development programs they need. After all, individuals and organizations in deprived communities in Africa or Asia know where the shoe pinches better than folks sitting in Washington, D.C., London, or Paris. In-country institutions also have a role to play in creating an enabling environment and facilitating reforms to deepen economic activity and capital markets and enable the mobilization of capital from domestic investors. My fourth takeaway is on ensuring fairer and reformed global systems. I coined the acronym SHAFT for these major systems: science, innovation, health, agriculture, financial, and tax. Research indicates that policies across these major systems are made in the West, while their impact is being felt globally. There is a need to reform these major systems in which developed countries are policymakers, while developing economies are policy takers. The need for reforms extends to multilateral institutions to ensure that they can deliver more development impact, tackle tax avoidance, improve trade rules, as well as public finance. Reforms in the agricultural sector will mean that products can be tracked from source and throughout the supply chain. And restructuring of the health ecosystems means that the entire world, and not just rich countries, is prepared for the next pandemic. My fifth takeaway from the white paper is value-based engagement. This is about the UK ensuring that accountability and human rights remain forefront in its engagement with the international community. Fortunately, this is to the benefit of all societies. So whether in principles such as accountability or upholding rule of law, it is important that all societies uphold best practices in matters relating to individual and national lives. Inclusive development is my sixth takeaway, and this is saying that development aid should be prioritized for low-income countries and directed at the most vulnerable groups. So women and girls will continue to be a key focus group for the UK, and a three-pronged approach of ensuring safe and secure education, empowerment based on access to finance and other economic opportunities, and ending gender-based violence will be sustained. Inclusive development also extends to ensuring that development programs are underpinned by gender equality and that issues relating to disaster resilience and irregular migration are addressed. My final takeaway is on science and innovation as well as climate action. The UK wants to work with partners to expand initiatives like the Just Energy Transition Partnership, an initiative that helps countries with resources to transition their energy sources to renewables. The climate strategy also extends to investment in early warning systems and to provide access to clean and affordable energy. The UK also wants to influence lending institutions to expand the use of climate resilience debt clauses, a clause that enables debtor countries to pause loan repayments when climate-induced or natural disasters happen. Artificial intelligence for development would also be explored, even as this new wave of technology gains ground in the mainstream. Overall, the white paper on international development seems well thought out, and if fully implemented, will result in significant progress come 2030. What I would have loved to see more of is an increased focus on sports as well as the arts and the creative industries, and the plans to support their growth in developing countries, even as they increasingly become paths to development and peace and out of poverty. Globally, these industries bring people together, and during global music and sports events, the world comes together and speaks with one voice. Research also indicates that sports leads to social integration between different ethnic groups, and so the United Nations encourages countries to advance the use of sports for sustainable development. And for the arts, Nigeria is a great case study. The creative industry was a major part of the rebasing of the economy that saw the country become the biggest economy in Africa in 2013. African arts, music and culture are now enjoyed all around the world, and if properly harnessed alongside tourism, can lead to an increase in economic activities and deepening inclusive development. Many thanks for watching, and please let me know what you think about the UK's white paper on international development. And see you in our next video, where we talk about why we do need international development. Until then, it's bye for now.